Wake up, buyer payer people. It's a beautiful day. Go grab yourself another cup of joe and say hello to Jim and Michelle Rhodes on the Buy Here Pay Here morning show. Take it away, you two.
Hey
friends.
Good morning.
Happy Friday. Welcome to another Buy Here Pay Here morning show.
Yep.
Greetings from Oklahoma and happy holidays. Merry Christmas
Happy
to
holidays.
everyone out there. We're going to take a bit of a break from the podcast. I think we won't return until the first week in January. So
the Friday of the first week in January. I think that the Wednesday is on New Year's Eve.
Yep. We'll still be recording some Pick Six conversations, getting ready for resuming in January, but just taking a little break.
Taking a little break.
Yep. So all good.
Yeah.
And but you can tell it. Michelle and I enjoy doing this. We enjoy bringing information to the industry. And today's another good example. We got dealer Nik Dumin, who I pre-recorded a Pick Six conversation. Of course, Nik is somebody we've known for a good while. Yeah. And so happy to spend some time with him. And I think you're going to find that the things that he shares are pretty good nuggets for people to pick up on.
Yeah. Also, this morning we were during our coffee time. Jim showed me a video of someone who is more in the, I think, franchise independent space.
Coaching, yeah.
Coaching that was talking about something that we speak about frequently, is about the importance of working on your business and not just in your business. And, he had a very different way of delivering it. It's like, I'm too busy. I got this going on. I need to sell more cars. And he's like, you need to take a break for an afternoon or whatever and plan out next year. And it's not just about, I'm going to sell more cars, but how are you going to shift the things that aren't working? Yeah. And then move into the year with a refreshed and renewed energy, excitement for the year, and shifting the things that need to be done. So, we aren't going to be here for the balance of 2025, but I'm sure we'll be talking a bit about what are your intentions for 2026 when we come back on the 2nd and or beyond. But it's a really great time. It's like one of those things everyone just kind of does, but and I'm not a huge set goals person. I mean, like the New Year's resolutions. New Year's resolutions person. I'm really like, what are your intentions for the year? And that they're not about numbers and quantify, but it's about what kind of experience do I wish to bring in and create for 2026. And so I'm working on that, and I have a little bit more of a different approach to doing that. And so I'll actually be starting to work on just what my intentions are an awful lot, and starting, Good. Yeah. And also for those of you who this matters, Jim's birthday is going to happen while we're. It's on solstice. Yeah. So
I'll put my Venmo out there. You can send gifts and cash, and that's just show your appreciation in large amounts.
Right. In large amounts. Yeah, exactly.
It's all good. All good. Another birthday. So you know what that means.
A couple more.
Yeah. It's like another Tuesday or something. It doesn't mean much to me. But 2:30. All good. Yes. Yeah. Shall we jump in?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So again, we got Mr. Nik Dumin. Just a quick background on Nik. Nik is a guy that was successful in the shop and service side of the business. He's in a small town.
Tire and shop.
Yeah. And he was a tech before that. And he decided to, pursue his entrepreneurial.
I love that.
Yeah, for sure.
I love that. He didn't inherit it. And that's like a whole nother subject we're going to be talking about next year.
She's chasing another squirrel.
Sorry, another squirrel is about family shifting.
Yeah, succession.
And succession
for
plans.
Sure. Look for that to be a big part of the conversation going into next year. But yeah, with Nik, he built this thing. He took the risk himself and stepped out there and created a service business. It's done well, and it's not surprising. Nik is you'll see, for those who are not familiar with Nik, you'll see his personality in the videos that we're doing, and he's He's bright. He's fearless as an entrepreneur, and so it just a good recipe for success. So he stepped into the buy here, pay here side, and so let's get started to kind of sharing what he's had to say there, Michelle. Nik Dumin out of Pennsylvania, Tyrone Tire and Automotive, joining us today. I actually know Nik quite well. I've got questions teed up, and I probably could answer some of these questions, from Nik. But glad to have him here to kind of speak for himself, of course, and share a little bit about his business story. And you'll get a chance to hear today from a dealer who started out in the service business and then got into the kind of the retail and buy here, pay here side. And I've been fortunate to know him from some of those earliest days. And so we got some questions teed up for Nik. He's picked 6 from our list. And so we'll kind of go through those, and I might even hit him with a bonus question or two. But Nik, thanks for being here.
Yeah, sure thing. Thanks for having me.
So I had the wrong question showing there, but we'll start with this one, Nik. What are the 2 top tips for buying better, especially for folks newer to buy here, pay here, that you would offer up? I know you're a good buyer, and you coming from a tech background, you're going to have some ideas there, I'm sure.
There's some good and some bad that comes with being a buyer and being a tech first, right?
Yeah.
Because I see everything and I think I can fix it, and I want to fix it. And but the truth of that is that stuff should not be in my recon department.
Okay.
So my number one tip on that probably is to not buy projects, don't buy rust.
Okay.
There's some people that can make that work. In my situation in particular, we're looking for fast turn stuff. I want to put tires and brakes on it, put it on the lot. And so, I don't know if I have 2 tips, but that's my number one tip, I'd say, is to not buy projects. Don't think you can fix it. I just have countless cars sitting around here that, everything always gets put in front of them because they're faster, and you end up with a bunch of birthdays,
Yeah. So why don't I let you give a little bit more of your background? Like I mentioned that you started out as a tech, but you want to give a little bit of your background, especially how you moved into entrepreneurship and business ownership.
Yeah, sure. So I'm a dealer tech by trade. I came up in GM stores and Ford stores as a technician, and the last store we worked at was a Mazda store, and so we kind of took that, and I morphed that into a little 20 by 30 carport that we started our service business out of. Just me, tire machine, desk in the corner, and had a friend of mine had a car dealership, and he kind of showed me that industry a little bit, and I always kind of had an interest in finance and whatnot, and just when I thought I was ready for that, I wasn't, and it just takes so long to be in the right position to do something like buy here, pay here, from a capital standpoint, and lots of other things. But so we grew our service business first, into a couple employees, and then we kind of expanded our sales later on. But dealer tech by trade. Still think of myself as a technician more than anything else. That's what I love to do.
Yeah, no, I get it. I think, and what I remember about your story there too, and I heard you just now say that your interest was more on the finance side than actual retail sales, right? I mean, right. More so than cash sales. You knew that there was an opportunity there, and so I remember you telling some of those stories about that. So going back to our question here, so you had something?
I did. When we opened the show, we were talking about setting intentions for the year. Mm-hmm. And the one thing you talked about buying better was to not buy a project. Mm-hmm. And so what kind of flashed in my mind is, he said that you'd have these ones that these cars that things kept getting pushed around them. Mm-hmm. And moved in front of them. And I would have ventured to say that there's a lot of dealers out there that have cars that are like that are sure. sitting on the lot. And that's a really great place to start in what are we going to do different, and look at the car and why did you buy it?
Yeah.
What needs to be fixed? And then when you go to buy the next year is avoid those things. And sometimes it's like, well, that's a really cool car. And whatever it is, it's like, if it has been sitting there on your lot for more than a month.
Yeah, I think part of what I can add to that is
Mm-hmm.
that, as a former dealer myself, sometimes what happens, you make a mistake when you buy one,
Mm-hmm.
right? You overlook
Mm-hmm.
something and you end up back there. And so when you do your analysis and assessment, you find out it requires more than you thought, or you're
Mm-hmm.
having to wait for some parts or
Mm-hmm.
find a used transmission, whatever. So that's part of why those cars sometimes get put aside.
Mm-hmm.
And then the dealer is postponing the idea of taking that loss. Like they could just liquidate the car and move on, but
True.
they're kind of, weighing the wholesale loss
Yeah.
against a reduced gross profit eventually. So it just kind of, but what you're hearing Nick say is he wants to turn them. So that means that he's optimizing his assets. And so this is
Every
why
dealer wants to turn them. So
Yeah.
that's,
but you can't turn them if they're not on the lot. So
true,
it's like,
true. And we talk about when we lose a customer, when we've had to do a repo and a charge off of some kind, we do a post-mortem.
Mhm.
I would suggest that we make it a practice for 2026 that if we have a car that's sitting there
Good
for that amount of, for a month, that we're doing a post-mortem on it.
Mhm.
We're figuring out why, and then you can't change something you don't measure. And so if there's the same kind of whatever's, it's like, if it's a transmission thing, is there a better way to check that?
Yeah.
Is there a better way to do some of those things when we go and go to the auctions?
Yeah.
It's harder to do when it's a virtual auction.
And for you, as somebody who hasn't done this, you're saying if it's sit there for a month, most dealers are struggling to get their cars reconditioned inside of a month.
Mm.
When Nick talks about a birthday, he's talking about a year. A car's been there a year.
Okay.
Right. And so, small markets, you can have some of that. But I think ultimately what you're trying to do is optimize your turns to make sure that you're buying cars. And Nick explains a little further on some of this. So we'll resume here. But he has some other suggestions for how to do that.
Let's go.
I know you well enough and know your operation well enough that another tip that comes to mind for you is that you guys kind of stay in the same models of cars, right? You have a handful of models that are really your focal points. Right?
Yeah. And we started, with rebuilt title cars, buying wrecks and fixing them. And we are kind of moving away from that. So our variety is getting to be a little bit more. And again, that's just based on the turn time. It just takes too long to turn those cars out. And the paperwork that comes with the titles and all that stuff. But the base of our portfolio is, 2010 to 2012 Subaru Legacies and Outbacks. That's my car, right?
Yeah.
Different things, Mazdas, Fords, stuff I'm real familiar with that we can fix. And if somebody calls me or says, "Hey, my check engine light came on, and I took it to AutoZone and I got this code," I can pretty much tell you what it needs. And so we're able to turn, our warranty repairs a little bit faster that way. What to expect.
Good point.
So that's another great tip, Jim. Is staying in the same kind of model can really accelerate one, your recon, and two, your warranty turn, and if you have a service department, keep your service department freed up and in our case doing customer work and making money.
Yes. Yeah, it's really smart. And I think one of the things too, just a quick aside, is having worked with a lot of techs over the years and trying to put some of them in a mode of buying, right? Or at least previewing cars, and then the list that I prepare, and then they would preview and come back and scratch some, is and this may not be true for Nick, but a lot of techs have their own prejudices. Like,
oh my gosh, I see them on social media.
Yeah, for sure. And I would, this one tech you hire, he may never want to buy a Ford, and the next one may never want to buy a Chevy. And so you cut your inventory down a lot if you do that. So, but that's part of what they enjoy working on. Maybe that's what they're familiar with. So just an aside.
It also helps too, is, you can market when you're looking for techs. It's like, we work on these.
Yeah, you could.
And there's got to be like someone that works in a Subaru dealership. It's like, that's what we work on. It's like you can really excel in your lane.
Yeah, well, and you just stay in that lane. So he's had some success there, and I think that's good stuff. So let's move on. Yeah, well, and also your techs obviously become familiar with that thing that can kind of diagnose and repair those in their sleep a little bit. So it's like, that also is going to obviously tend to lend to a lot of benefits I can see. We'll move on to the next one. So since you started, how has your business model shifted? I know it shifted some.
Yeah. So again, we started in the service business, and we were just kind of flipping cash cars, and then just to build some capital, and then we moved to a different service building, and then we got we got a dealer license for that place, and we started selling. Just did a handful of buy here, pay here cars. Like I had 10 or 12 accounts for forever, and just kind of building slow, and then. Doing rebuilds, started doing rebuilds. And then, so the biggest shift for me has probably been moving out of the rebuild space. Like, we went from doing probably, 12 of those a month to, maybe one now.
Right.
Just buying a lot of retail. But, the additional shift for us was adding a sales location, a standalone sales location.
Mm-hmm.
Our brand is Tyrone Automotive. It doesn't sound like a used car lot, right? So we kind of branched off to a location that's 100 yards up the street. It was a longtime car dealership, and that's called now Tyrone Auto Credit. A little bit more like what we do. So, and then just recently we added another retail service location. It's kind of a quick lube, and that's been useful for our buy here, pay here clientele to be able to stop by and just get an oil change, not have to wait a week or two for an appointment. And our customers don't want to wait. And if you catch them when they're thinking about it, maybe you get it done. If you schedule it 2 weeks from now, they're not coming. So it's just that's been useful that way. So we've been able to service our portfolio a little bit better with that in that third store, but. As far as like actual model, it's been pretty similar the last 2 years. Our underwriting is similar. Our collections are pretty good. So if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah. Well, I also.
One thing I love about this, and I've heard some other very, very, very successful dealers, is it's not so much about having multiple locations for selling cars, but creating multiple businesses that are all in the same lane that help support each other.
Yeah.
And I really, really like that. There's a dealer that we know that bought a tire shop. There's, and so I love this idea of like, there's a quick loop, that we, so they're able also to do a lube oil change for just the general public, but it is a place that they're, and I think that's really, really smart. And then they have the tire and all of that stored there too. But it all kind of creates an ecosystem that's not about spreading yourself and having to copy a business model and do it here and here and here. And how do you make sure that it stays good, but you're creating different things that all kind of support each other in one big ecosystem.
Right.
I really love that.
Sounds very synergistic for sure.
Yeah.
I want to clear up one thing. He mentioned in there, kind of stopped buying salvage cars, and he really just started focusing on buying clean title, mostly because he could produce more, he could turn them faster, and so that was ultimately what helped him move volume. In addition to setting up that separate auto credit location that focuses on sales, right?
Yeah.
I know that you have some private investment for capitalization, and that there was a time that we talked about you moving to adding clean title cars, partly because of your ability to find enough cars and turn them quickly, and then also positioning toward capital, so that eventually that would be more attractive for capital options as you move in that direction. So those are among the things I'm also familiar with. So that's all good stuff. We've seen your business grow, and so talk to us about your structure. Like, how many employees do you have? And we know you started from service, so you don't have to answer that part. And so you actually started in the service business. So you definitely from day one, that was your business, and then you added more of the retail and the buy here, pay here side. So how many employees do you have, and kind of if you can tell us by department, sort of?
So I'll split this up into 4 departments to make it easy. Well, yeah, 4. So a recon facility, I got one body guy, one technician, and myself. This is mostly where I live, trying to turn cars out. Tyrone Tire service department, I got a service manager, 3 techs there. Yeah, just a great team. Great manager there, and they do a really nice job for us. That's how many is that? 6, 7. And then my sales location, we have I got a collector, office manager, Amber. She does pretty much everything. I got a sales guy, Robbie, sales manager, and one detail guy. So I got 3 at that location, and then our other facility, the lube station or lube center, whatever you want to call it, quick lube. We got 3 guys there. I got one service manager there who's relatively new to the company. He's doing a good job, and I got two techs. One senior guy that's been with me for a long time, and one boat tech kid that's been with us for a couple months, who's also doing a really good job.
Yeah, good. So I heard in that you, and of course I knew you had the dedicated kind of sales office where all they do over there is to have some inventory and kind of sales. There's some administrative and collections that happens over there, but there's service work that happens at that building, right? And so that's
other than like my detailer Jimmy will do GPS install.
Okay.
Light bulbs, wiper blades, light mechanical stuff.
Yeah, I got you. That's all good. So, but I feel like that's having that dedicated sales situation has probably moved your volume some, right?
Yes,
I mean, you guys have been able to turn out a little bit more. Good. All right. So, current bottleneck. What's the biggest bottleneck or challenge that you're facing now?
This is a look in the mirror for me because it's recon.
Okay.
It's my department, and part of it's staffing. I got one mechanic and one body guy, and I probably should hire one more guy, but I'm kind of working as a halfway tech anyways, and so recon's always my bottleneck, and it's getting easier the better cars I buy, right?
Okay.
And but right now we're in a phase where I'm trying to get this place cleaned up. I'm trying to get these projects that have been laying around forever out of here. Let's fix them or let's get rid of them.
Yep.
And, that's kind of where we're at. So it's just the time that it takes to get through the project. So I'll go back to what I said earlier, and you got to buy the car right, and don't. If you're trying to do 25 or 30 cars a month, don't buy something that needs engine. Just sure you can fix it, but should you?
Yeah, should you? Yeah, that's a hard thing to measure, but you're right. You can see it, and the benefit of getting those things turned around faster and making them available for sale, because they don't pay you anything when they're sitting on the lift, right? So you gotta get them out there. You mentioned, and I think this answers why I heard 4 different facilities, and you tend to office at the recon center just because that lets you keep hands on and do what you can to move the cars through.
That's right.
Right. Okay.
Yep.
And then next one, what advice would you give to somebody who's just getting in this business? You meet somebody who's just contemplating at a conference or whatever they're thinking about it. What are your top takeaways for them? What would you suggest for them?
The first thing that comes to mind is if you're in a sales tax first day, do lease here, pay here, not buy here, pay here.
Okay. Yep. You've kind of been contemplating that yourself. Huh?
Yeah, we're kind of working towards that a little bit for sales tax savings. You've heard me say this before, but for small math, 10 cars a month at $800 a month of sales tax is $8,000. Like that's real cash,
Of course.
And two.
I want to pause on that for a minute and just clarify something about sales tax on leasing. Nik doesn't mean that as a lease dealer that you don't pay sales tax. You do. You just remit it differently. So he's even if the customer stays in the lease and goes all the way to the end and all the same amount of sales tax is paid on a deal, he's obviously getting to amortize that and spread it, pay it differently. But also the lease customer only pays sales tax as they make payments. So if the account defaults, a year in, you're never paid. You never remit that other sales tax. So there's savings on the charge-offs. But I mostly just wanted to clarify that it doesn't mean that the lease dealer doesn't pay sales tax. They just pay from what they collect. It's a different structure. Yeah. And it's certainly spread differently.
Yeah.
Watch your watch your leverage. One, have capital, find capital, one way or another, and two, don't get over leverage. I've been fortunate to have great instruction from my very beginning, and to watch my leverage, right, and I feel I sleep good at night knowing that I have a portfolio that's worth something. And if I got to exit ramp if I absolutely need to exit someday, or get my private money guy's money back.
Yeah. So yes, and I love that. I really, really, really love that. One, he's built an exit ramp. And we don't think about that, but that's an important part of, like, if this has to unwind, am I making sure it's clean? And that that it can unwind in a way that.
And so, for leverage, we're really just talking about the amount of debt relative to the portfolio. But I would say even beyond that, it's the amount of debt relative to the real liquid value of the portfolio. If you had to sell next month, what would the portfolio bring, and where's your leverage relative to that?
So those of you who don't know, that Jim worked with Nik when he first got started. And so it's like, it's really great to see that.
It's easy when you work with smart people that make you look smart, but Nik has done well, and I'm glad to see him have that. And I appreciate the nod of some of the suggestions.
Absolutely.
Very like, I know that I can do that. So that's my advice.
Yeah, that's great advice for new folks. And then this is a fun question. On a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you love what you do?
10.
Nice. Nice.
I mean, I know some guys get burned out and whatever, and there are days that this is a challenging business to be in. Man, I mean, the guys in the buy here, pay here space are wearing so many hats. You're just doing everything, and it can be challenging some days. But at the end of the day, I feel so blessed to just love what I do, and I love coming to work every day. I don't take as many vacations as I should, probably because I love my job. This is what I like to do, and maybe I'll feel different in 20 years. I don't know, but it's a 10 for me right now.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, I can say that I've seen you make time for family stuff. You're being an entrepreneur and being a business owner. You do take time for all the stuff that happens with family. And so that's beautiful to have that sort of flexibility, right? There's some people who just can't get away from work to go do a softball game or whatever.
And the truth of the matter on that note, Jim, is, I have such a great team. And I think that's so important, to build your business, so you don't have to be in it every single day. And I am here most days, but it's just, I just have some great long tenure people that we try to take care of, and that really helps me be available to my number one priority, which is my family.
Yeah, wonderful. Couple quick mention. He said part of this and part of it he didn't say. He's got good people, which means he hired good people. He gave him probably some training. He gave him the authority to do what's needed. So otherwise he wouldn't be crediting them for doing a good job in their own departments, right? And then he makes time for family. So
well, and what I hear from that too, with 3 different business locations, he doesn't micromanage.
Right. You got to be able to delegate. And so that's part of what you're hearing that we're reading between the lines here, but that's what we know is the case with Nik.
Absolutely. And helps people stay in their lanes as well. So I didn't hear that there were people that crossed businesses.
And you heard him say he tries to take care of them. So that's why they keep showing up, and that's why he's got good people. And
he also just really takes care of his community through his business too.
Amen. Yeah, he does a lot of that.
I love that.
We didn't get into that today, but you're right. That's part of what Nik is.
That's one more little one there is just what do you say? What do they say? Work on your business, not in your business.
Yeah. That's great advice. I think we see you do that. Like, I think you're somebody who's living that. And so I think that's really great advice for folks. I do have one more bonus question for you. So your philosophy around collections, or your philosophy around the business in general, and I'm wondering how it shapes your own policies around things like how do you handle late payments, like how strict are you, and then same thing with repos, like how did you form your policy around how do you handle late payments and how do you handle repos?
Yeah, I mean, I have policies, Jim. But it's like it's every account is a conversation, and I don't know that we have a hard stop 30 days. Like some people do. So we tend to work people. I don't want these cars back. In most cases, if it's I'm a little less lenient when it's fresh. But overall, I want the payments. I don't want the car back. And so I would say we tend to work with people probably more than most people will. I got accounts that are 60 days late, but 9 days recent. So and I just feel like maybe you got to have a little empathy. You can't get taken advantage of, which I'm sure we get taken advantage of sometimes. Nature of the beast, but. Somebody has to go away to a rehab or something for 30 days, and obviously they can't make their car. Like, there's we have other avenues. Like we might ask the customer to bring the car back and park it till they get caught up. We'll give you 30 days, or my ultimate goal is to keep the customer in the car. I don't want to repo. We're calling every day. If you're past due, you're getting a phone call every day, text, email, whatever. We got multiple people working those, so you'll know for sure.
So let me ask you, as the dealer principal, like you said that you work with people, and there's often conversations, which means they're coming to you and asking you, what do you want to do about a certain account, right? And so what are you looking for? Like when you say you work with somebody, what are you looking for from the customer to decide to continue to work with them?
Yeah. So I mean. My favorite thing to do probably is, or my favorite thing to have Amber do is to have a one-on-one with the customer and kind of bring them in, sit them down, and say, hey, how do we get here? Let's review your income. Let's look at let's look at a couple of pay stubs and like, can you dig yourself out of this hole? Or if we restructure your loan, can you continue to pay? And and that's really what we like to do when it gets to that point. Did I answer your question? I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, it's great. I'd say I can also add that Nick's in a smaller market maybe than some of our folks out there, and so that means that customers are hard to come by. You don't want to lose them. They're a little harder to replace, obviously, in a smaller market. But I think I've known you well enough to know that kind of what your philosophy was going into the thing anyway. But I think that's great information. I think that answers the question. It gives me a feel for kind of how you do business. I might also say that, Nick was one of our original V8 members. He was one of the first 3 members that we did a little beta run. And so, we've gotten to know his business and his numbers that way. And I can say that Nick is also a former honorary White Hat Dealer of the Year, because we just see kind of the way he does business, and this is what we try to showcase, obviously, with White Hat Way. But that wasn't our objective here today. I appreciate you taking time to answer the questions and help out some other dealers. And I think you gave some great information.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you for having me, and appreciate it as always.
Yeah. Okay, so I'll remove that from the thing. So such good information there. I think. A lot of philosophies wrapped in what he talked about there. And so I think, when you talk about that bonus thing about collections, you can hear that he's been without break. As we talk about the one-on-one thing, is like he said, bring them in the office, like sit with them in the office. And I think we don't do enough of that. And if our our facility is not really set up to accommodate that,
private conversation,
and we can do virtual and Zoom and whatever else, so that can be done. It's just the one-on-one in person is still going to be the favorite if we can make that happen.
Absolutely. Zoom is a nice alternative, but there is something different about someone taking the effort to come into the office and sit down, and that asking them to do that just kind of helps in psychologically solidify I'm in this.
Right.
I'm coming in because I have every intention. It's just I've hit a hard time. I've hit a bump, because if it's one of those, we talk about the 5%, the 7% of your book of business that are troublemakers,
Mhm.
they're not going to come in and sit down with you.
No, that's true. The others, I would say, we ought to press for that. And even if we're
Mhm.
metropolitan marketing, it's difficult for the customer. We're talking about maybe the customer's got 2 years left on their contract. Like we need to make a decision about whether we're moving forward. I think an in-person conversation would be preferred. And I think what asking the customer to come and sit with us versus what we know the alternative is can be a repo, I would say this is part of where we can, have a positive impact. And some dealers aren't going to want to do that.
I really like that he turns that over to, is it Ashley?
Amber.
Amber. He
Yeah.
turns that over to Amber.
Yeah.
And Amber has those I
Yeah.
like that he's given her the ability to be able to do that and probably make some hard, he's filled her toolbox with tools that she can, and I'm sure he has final say on all of those things, but it's so important to give your team members the tools they need to be able to have that kind of conversation.
And some of what you mean by tools can be authority. Like they have to be able to, they have actual remedies and they have the authority to use those remedies. And so I think that's part of what can happen there. But yeah, thanks again to Nik for making time to chat with us and to share with other dealers. Because I do think a lot of what he shared there is, and this is not just because he's a student of ours, he really obviously has a lot of great ideas and
has continued. Like he's in a 20 group and he still does V8 and goes to conferences and is always learning.
Oh, of course.
And that's an important part too. And it was such a pleasure to get to know him and watch that evolution.
I'll just a quick note, you can find in our YouTube channel the Wednesday before Thanksgiving we featured, he did a turkey giveaway, which he's done, but it's an example of how Nik is very community minded and how he reaches out to community and has a lot of great ideas, and they do a good job of staying connected with other businesses in the community.
Well, and that's part of the thing, we talk about being connected with the community. There are multiple organizations that he is an active participant in, and some of them are religious, and some of them,
charitable.
So he's with schools, with charity stuff. Is that he is a participant in those organizations,
and you don't see him doing it with the expectation of anything in return.
No, he does it because he likes to help people.
And he likes to stay connected and be an asset to his community. Exactly, he likes his business to show up as an asset. Right?
Yep, absolutely. Good. Just appreciate that. What great conversation.
Yeah, loved it.
Really did. All right.
Well, thanks, folks.
We're taking a break.
Yep. You can always find, we didn't need to do reruns because you can find all of our reruns on our YouTube channel.
We won't be posting reruns.
Right.
Go if you want to.
I'm gonna stay around and just eat sweet stuff and get fat. So
when they have a really great dairy close by that makes great eggnog.
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah. So you won't see us again until January. But I'll have bigger cheeks. Bigger cheeks by January.
Everybody, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Happy holidays. We're going to be missing you. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. All of those things. I hope you guys have a great holiday season, and we will look forward to seeing you on the 2nd.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. Thanks again. We really do appreciate you taking your time to listen. All right. Have a great day.